I too want to support this motion today. And how many more motions are we going to have, and how many more debates are we going to have to try and get some realism and reality into the disaster situation where we find ourselves in regard to housing? And I think it's just, it's organised mayhem. That's what it is. And every speaker I chat last night with my colleague in South Tipperary, housing is the number one issue, and our clinics are bogged down, and there's so little we can do. There's so little output. The whole HAP disaster, that billions are spent on that should have been spent on public housing, but we lost our way there as well. But I want to say, during the War of Independence, the Custom House was demolished, under attack. I don't want anyone to be injured now, but the Custom House has to be dismantled, and the deep rot and failures, systematic failures that are in there are just, intolerable at this stage. And what kind of a democracy have we, an elected democracy, that we can't have ministers that will challenge it and will challenge the Secretary Generals? And I'm not personally against anything, but they're there on their fiefdoms. And I'm experienced in the game, skin in the game here, because I was chair of a voluntary housing association who built 17 houses, 14 and 3, and I saw all the delays and the suffocation and the 6 different departments all over the country that you have to pass paper around to, keeping people in jobs, doing paperwork. And if we want to build 3 local authority houses or 4, we have to get a design team and we have to get consultants to design them. Why can't we have the same schemes just to adapt them to the sites? It's a pure racket. And this is going on and on and on and on, and no sign of it changing. So ministers, and we've had more housing ministers since I came in here now than we've many hot dinners, and they all do their best, but it's utter failure. And who was it? Einstein said the definition of madness was doing insanity was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get a different result. And this is what's happening here. And we had this nice new acronym of this new fellow who's been brought in to move mountains. Another job with a brass plate and a big office and a team of people under him and doing nothing. So let the local authorities, give them the powers to build. And when we had a borough district council in Clonmel, which was abolished under Fine Gael, under that wasteful plan they had of putting people first, it put people last. We had a team, and I want to salute them in the past, of builders and maintenance men, and the stock was being maintained. Now I think they have one person in the whole borough of Clonmel. So that's not good enough. Speaking of Dublin, alluded to the flats in Ballymun. I heard it's the same in Germany, and they're in pristine condition. Now some are demolished and falling down. They're not being maintained. And people aren't being encouraged to have pride in their houses either. That wonderful scheme, Costa New Voluntary Housing Association, that I was involved in, still involved in, I spoke to the chairman on the win on the phone about something, is in pristine condition. The residents are very happy, and the little niggly bits they always will be, and it was one of the most joyous things I was ever involved in. So we can support the voluntary housing, the small voluntary housing associations, not the Peter McGrath, who turned into conglomerates, and many more of these housing agencies. They've turned into huge, and I was on the national body for a number of years, so I know. They took control of that, put the clause around it, and squeeze out the ordinary local voluntary organisations. And that's not acceptable. So we need to massive rethink, dismantle the Custom House, make it into maybe a homeless shelter or something, get out the mandals out of there and get some common sense in there, and allow builders are out there ringing me every day of the week. We have Irish Water, we have planning, we have Bord Finola. I got a call last night about this. Bord Finola inspector did a report using ChatGPT. Imagine, where are we going to end up next? Now we've changed the name. I love the Gaelic, like yourself, Cahill, but changing the name isn't good enough when there's a systemic rot in those organisations, in the Custom House and in Bord Finola.